Love doesn't always end in fire and thunder. Sometimes, it ends in silence. In Bridgerton Season 4, there's a scene, a single, quiet moment, that speaks louder than any confession or heartbreak before it. It's the kind of scene that doesn't need words to hurt you. You just feel it in the stillness. In the look that says everything love couldn't. For a story that's built on passion, longing, and perfect smiles, this moment broke the illusion and left the world of Bridgerton forever changed. The world of Bridgerton has always been painted in soft pastels, elegant dances, whispered promises, and stolen glances beneath candlelight. It's a story that reminds us of beauty, grace, and the thrill of love's first touch. But beneath all that glitter and grandeur, there's always a storm waiting, a storm of emotions that can't stay hidden forever. Season 4 takes that storm and lets it break. Before the heartbreak, everything seemed perfect. The Bridgerton family was at the height of society's favor. The music played sweetly, the gowns shimmered brighter than ever, and the ton was alive with gossip about love, marriage, and scandal. But in the midst of all the laughter, something began to shift. There were glances that lingered too long, smiles that didn't reach the eyes, silences that spoke more than words ever could. The audience could feel it. Something fragile was about to crack. This is what makes Bridgerton so powerful. It's not just a show about love. It's about what love costs. Each season gives us a reminder that behind every romance lies sacrifice. And in Season 4, the cost is heavier than ever. The characters we thought had found their peace are forced to choose between love and loyalty, between truth and appearance. In this moment, everything slows down. The ballroom that once shimmered with golden light now feels colder. The laughter fades, and the camera lingers, not on the grandeur, but on the small things. A trembling hand, a tear that never falls. A goodbye hidden behind a smile. It's a moment that breaks not just the characters, but the viewers too. The most heartbreaking scene of Bridgerton Season 4 isn't filled with shouting or betrayal. It's quiet. It's simple. And that's why it hurts so much. Because sometimes it's not the words that destroy us, it's the silence that follows. It didn't happen all at once. The heartbreak didn't crash down like thunder, it arrived like a whisper. Slowly, softly. The kind of pain that hides behind everyday moments at first. Everything in the Bridgerton household seemed untouched. The gardens were still blooming, the dances still dazzling, and the family still smiling for society. But if you looked closely, the cracks had already begun to show. In the quiet corners of the ballrooms, words were left unsaid. Letters went unanswered. Eyes met and quickly looked away. This season doesn't give us the grand declarations of love we once saw. It gives us restraint, the kind that burns quietly. Colin tries to carry on with his usual calm confidence, but his smiles feel forced now, the kind that hides more than it reveals. Penelope, on the other hand, has learned to be still. Her laughter has softened, her hope has dimmed, and yet, there's something in her eyes, a spark of longing that refuses to die. You can sense it, the distance growing between them, even as they stand side by side. It's in the way their hands almost touch but never do. It's in the way every word feels like it's walking on glass. The show doesn't shout it at you. It lets you feel it. The tension builds not through drama, but through silence. Through glances across crowded rooms, through the soft fade of a once bright connection, every episode begins to feel heavier. The music slows. The lighting dims. Even the cheerful chatter of the ton can't drown out the quiet sadness taking root. You start to realize that this isn't just another love story. It's a breaking point. Two people standing on opposite sides of a truth too painful to face. The brilliance of Bridgerton. Season 4 lies in how it makes us watch love unravel so beautifully. It's not ugly, it's not loud, it's graceful, tragic, and painfully human. You don't even notice the exact moment when things begin to fall apart. But when you do, it's already too late. The connection that once felt eternal now feels fragile. Like a single breath could make it disappear. And that's what makes the heartbreak inevitable. Not because one of them stopped loving, but because they both still do. And sometimes that's exactly what destroys you. It happens in a moment so quiet, you could almost miss it. No grand speeches, no thunder, no storm. Just two people standing in the same room, but 1,000 miles apart. The ballroom that once shimmered with music and laughter now feels like a memory. The violins have gone still, and all that remains is the faint echo of a dance that ended too soon. The candles flicker low, their light trembling on the edges of their faces. This isn't the kind of heartbreak that screams. It's the kind that breathes softly and cuts deeply. Colin stands near the window, his hand resting on the glass, as if he's holding on to something that's already gone. His reflection looks back at him, not as the confident man society sees, but as someone breaking quietly from within. Behind him, Penelope enters, the soft rustle of her gown the only sound in the room. She doesn't speak. She doesn't need to. Her silence says everything her heart cannot. When their eyes meet, time seems to fold in on itself. All the laughter, all the letters, all the years of pretending they hang in the air between them like ghosts. Colin turns, wanting to say something, anything, but his lips refuse to move. Because what words could make this right? What apology could heal love that was never truly allowed to live? Penelope takes a step closer, and for a second, you can see the hope in her eyes. Small, fragile, but still there. Then she smiles, the kind of smile that's not happiness, but farewell. Her voice is barely above a whisper. We were never meant to last, were we? He doesn't answer. He can't. Instead, he gives her that look, the one that holds every word. He's too afraid to say love, regret, loss. It's all there. And that's the cruel beauty of it. Because in Bridgerton, love doesn't always end when the music stops. Sometimes it ends when the heart finally understands it must let go. The camera lingers on them as they stand apart. No tears, no embrace. Just a space filled with everything unsaid. The background fades, the candlelight dims, and all that's left is the echo of a heartbeat breaking in silence. It's not just another goodbye. It's a realization that sometimes love survives, but the people inside it do not. And as the scene fades to black, we're left not with anger or betrayal, but with quiet devastation, because this isn't just the saddest scene of the season, it's the most human one. Heartbreak dosing. Tea always looked the same. Sometimes it's a scream, sometimes it's a whisper. But in this moment, it's the quiet ache between Colin and Penelope. Two souls standing inches apart, drowning in everything they can't say. Colin's face tells a story his lips never could. He's not cold, he's conflicted. His love for Penelope is real, but it's tangled with guilt, fear, and pride. You can see it in the way his eyes flicker, how he wants to reach out, but his hand never moves. For Colin, this isn't just the end of a romance. It's the loss of a part of himself he didn't know he needed until now. The man who once charmed every room suddenly looks lost in the silence of his own choices. Penelope. Though she breaks differently, her strength has always been quiet. She doesn't beg. She doesn't cry. She simply feels and lets the feeling destroy her from within. The way her voice trembles without breaking. It's as if she's holding herself together for him, for one last moment of dignity. Her pain isn't loud, it's graceful. It's the kind of sorrow that makes you forget how to breathe in her eyes. You can still see love tired, wounded, but alive. She isn't angry. She's heartbroken by the truth that sometimes love isn't enough. The same girl who once wrote letters in secret now stands exposed, stripped of illusions. And yet, there's a strange peace in her expression. The acceptance that she's finally free from waiting for a love that would never choose her completely. Their emotions reflect two sides of the same heartbreak. Colin mourns what he's lost too late, while Penelope grieves for what she never truly had. He's caught in regret. She's caught in goodbye. It's a tragic symmetry to hearts breaking in perfect harmony. What makes this scene unforgettable isn't just the sadness, it's the restraint. The way neither of them lets the emotion fully spill over. Because in the world of Bridgerton, emotion must be elegant even when it's shattering. The pain must wear a smile. The tears must hide behind lowered eyes. It's heartbreak dressed in silk and silence, and that's what makes it real. Because that's how heartbreak often feels in life. Not a storm that destroys, but a quiet fading of light. Two people who loved each other deeply, now standing in a room where love still lingers, but has nowhere left to go. As Penelope walks away, the camera doesn't follow her. It stays on, Colin, because Bridgerton wants us to see it. That rare moment when a man realizes he's lost something he can never get back. Not because fate asterisk every Bridgerton scene carries beauty, but not every one carries truth. This one does, painfully so. Beneath the shimmer of chandeliers and the perfection of manners, this moment strips love bare. It shows us what happens when emotion must live behind a mask. The first theme that breathes through this scene is love versus duty. Colin and Penelope are caught in a world that worships appearances more than honesty. Colin's heart belongs to her, but his pride belongs to society. He's torn between what he feels and what he's been taught to want. That's the tragedy. Not that he doesn't love her, but that he's afraid to love her out loud. Every second he hesitates is a small betrayal, not of her, but of himself. Penelope's journey mirrors that conflict too. She's always been a woman living between two selves, the one society sees and the one she hides in ink and paper. When she finally stands before Colin, she's no longer the wallflower or the secret writer. She's the truth he's been running from. And in that moment, truth is her rebellion. Her heartbreak isn't just romantic, it's symbolic. It's the price of being honest in a world built on pretense. Then there's appearance versus reality. The scene glows with soft candlelight. Perfect dresses, perfect posture, but inside, everything is crumbling. It's a mirror of how the ton itself lives. Graceful on the surface, hollow underneath. The ballroom is more than a setting. It's a stage, a mask. The flickering candles become symbols of love fading. The reflection in the window where Colin stands isn't just his face, it's his double life. The man he shows the world, and the man he truly is. Even the silence carries meaning. In a world where every emotion is spoken through gossip or performance, silence becomes the purest language. When they say nothing, they're finally honest. Because love, real love, doesn't always need words. Sometimes it only needs a look, a tear, a breath shared between two people who understand that this is the end. And then there's freedom through heartbreak. Penelope's final smile, that soft, aching acceptance, is not weakness, it's liberation. She walks away not defeated, but awakened. She's learned that waiting for someone to choose you isn't love, it's surrender. And in her heartbreak, she chooses herself. That's the quiet revolution of Bridgerton Season 4. Love doesn't just break hearts, it sets them free. This scene is layered with meaning, the music, the lighting, the pauses all working together to remind us that beauty often hides pain. That perfection can suffocate truth, and that sometimes the bravest thing love can do is let go. Because in the end, the real tragedy isn't that they stopped loving. It's that they finally understood each other right before they had to say goodbye. The moment that scene aired, the world seemed to stop. For a second, the soft hum of the ton was replaced by something far louder, silence. The kind that only comes after a heartbreak that feels too real. Across living rooms, bedrooms, and late-night screens, millions of fans sat still, eyes wide, hearts shattered. And in that collective quiet, something beautiful happened. Everyone felt the same ache. Social media lit up, not with jokes or memes, but with grief. "I didn't cry this much since Season 2, one fan wrote. Another posted a single sentence. "I didn't know silence could hurt this bad." Threads, videos, and reactions began to flood every corner of the internet. People weren't just watching Bridgerton, they were living it. Because somehow, pain of two fictional lovers reminded everyone of something real they'd once lost. This wasn't just a TV moment. It became a cultural echo. The scene spoke to every person who ever stayed quiet when they should have spoken. To everyone who loved deeply, but had to walk away with a smile. It hit different because it didn't feel like acting. It felt like truth. And truth, when shown through beauty, has a way of breaking hearts all over again. Clips of the scene spread everywhere, slowed down, re-edited, replayed with piano versions of Wildest Dreams or Perfect. Viewers turned their own heartbreak into art. People wrote essays, poems, even fan letters to characters that don't exist, because in that moment, they did. The world felt Penelope's silence, Colin's regret, and the cruel grace of love lost. Critics called it a masterclass in emotional restraint, but fans called it something else too real. It became a point of connection, a shared language of sorrow. Whether you'd been ghosted, left behind, or had to say goodbye to someone you still loved, that scene felt like a mirror. It told the truth no one wants to say out loud. Love doesn't always end in anger. Sometimes it just ends. And that's why this moment from Bridgerton Season 4 didn't just break hearts. It united them. For a show built on beauty and scandal, it gave us something more honest. A collective heartbreak. The kind that makes you sit in the dark after the credits roll, staring at nothing, whispering to yourself, why did that hurt so much? Because deep down, everyone has a Colin. Everyone has a Penelope. Someone you loved quietly. Someone you lost gracefully. And maybe that's why this scene didn't just belong to Bridgerton. It belonged to all of us. When the scene fades to black, what's left isn't just sorrow, it's silence. The kind that stays with you long after the music ends. Because heartbreak in Bridgerton isn't about losing someone. It's about realizing that even the most perfect love can't always survive a world built on rules, pride, and timing. Colin and Penelope's story was never about a happy ending. It was about the courage to love in a place that doesn't make space for imperfection. It was about longing that dared to exist in whispers and goodbyes that sounded like forgiveness. The real tragedy isn't that they couldn't be together. It's that they loved each other too deeply to pretend anymore. As the candlelight dies, you start to see what this story was really about. It wasn't about wealth, titles, or dances beneath chandeliers. It was about two people who taught us that love doesn't need to last forever to be real. Sometimes, its beauty lies in its brevity, in the moment it blooms. And in the quiet grace with which it fades, every great love story has a moment that breaks us. Not because it ends, but because it reminds us that we once believed in forever, and that's what makes this scene unforgettable. It touches the part of us that still waits for someone to stay, even when we know they won't. It's a reminder that love is both our strength and our undoing, the sweetest and sharpest part of being human. The scene closes not with anger, but with peace. A peace that feels heavy, fragile, and painfully honest. As Penelope walks away, and Colin remains frozen in the half-light, the world outside the frame continues, but for a moment, we don't. We stay there, suspended in their silence, feeling the echo of every unspoken word, and maybe that's why. Bridgerton continues to move us, because beneath the gowns and gossip, it shows us something real, that love isn't always about happy endings. Sometimes it's about beautiful goodbyes. So as the screen fades to darkness, we're left with just one thought. Love doesn't always end when the story does. Sometimes it lingers, quietly, painfully, forever.